How many of you know that you can't sin by mistake? There's a difference between a mistake and a sin. The only way you can sin is to know that what you're doing is wrong and do it anyway. I had a young man stand up and challenge me at YWAM. He said, "Can I ask you a question?" He was kind of passionate. I said, "Yeah." He's getting really frustrated with me. I said, "Yeah." He said, "Can you go a whole day without sinning?" I said, "Uh-huh." He sits down. I'm like, "Well, that was simple." I thought he was going to take her on to the... I said, I've gone a whole week without sinning. Now he looks like he's in shock. And so I started to say, well, wait a second, let's define what sin is. Sin means that you knew something was wrong and you did it anyway. You cannot sin by mistake. Now it says that when the law came, sin increased. Why did it increase when the law came? Because listen, how did you judge whether or not you were sinning before the law? How many of you know that Abraham lived before the law of Moses? Am I losing you? Is this boring? Okay, Abraham lived before the law of Moses. But was there still sin in the days before the law? Yes, there was. But how many of you know how did God determine whether or not you sinned? Because there is a conscience that every person has. Everyone is born in the deepest parts of Africa. They've never heard of Jesus. How are they going to be judged? By what they thought was right and wrong. Jesus said it this way. He says, "By your words will you be judged, and by your words will you be condemned." In other words, if you said, "Hey, that's wrong." Let's say you say your neighbor does something, you go, "That's wrong." God takes that note. Okay, take note. Kris said this is wrong. And then when you break that rule that you made for yourself, God goes, "Wait a second, you said that was wrong. You broke your own law." So what were you judged before there was a law? What were you judged by? Your own conscience. You said that was wrong, but you did it anyway. Are you following me? But what happened when the law came? When the law came, you went from having these many rules. God goes, because man said, "Listen, we don't want a relationship with God. We want rules. We'll get to heaven by keeping the rules." God goes, "You want to keep the rules? Okay, here's the rules." And what happened? Suddenly, I became aware that a whole bunch of my behavior that I've already been doing, are you with me, is now wrong. Now, guess what? From that point on, if I continue in the behavior, now I know right from wrong. If I do it, now it's sin. Okay, well, some of you got that same look that young man had. Sin is a heart issue. So a mistake and a sin aren't the same thing. I can, I've used this example many times. I can back my car up and run over somebody and kill them by accident. How many of you know that's sad? It happens all the time, accidents on the road. They're called accidents for a reason. It's called an accident. I didn't do it on purpose. How many of you know that there's a mess to clean up there? There's grief, there's all that stuff that happens with a mistake. But how many know I won't have to answer to God for it? I didn't do it on purpose. It wasn't a hard issue. How many know that I can see somebody on the sidewalk I'm mad at, drive my car up on the sidewalk, run over their foot? I didn't kill them. All I did was break their foot. But how many know I'm going to answer for that from God? Why? I did it on purpose. It's not the depth of the damage that determines whether I sinned or not. Okay, well. So when somebody says, "Have you sinned?" Well, can you go a whole day with sinning? Well, yeah, I've slept in. No, but on a serious note, what some people are saying is, can you go a week without making a mistake? Me? No, me? No. No, my whole staff is up in the front and like, amen. No, he can't. But there's a difference between, hey, I hurt your feelings, I said something I wish I wouldn't have said, I didn't realize, and you know what, watch this, I'm mad at you, I'm going to hurt you. How many of you know that one I'll answer for God for, but I have a mess to clean up with both of them? Just one isn't with God. If that makes sense. Okay.